Tansei, I'm Kristen Ashkite. Welcome to APTN National News. Sad news coming from the Shamattawa First Nation in Manitoba, roughly 750 kilometers northeast of Winnipeg. RCMP have announced that a young boy has died after being struck by a vehicle. On Friday, December 5th, a 6-year-old boy was hit by a vehicle while it was backing up in a business parking lot. The driver of the vehicle immediately brought the child to a nursing station for care, but he later succumbed to his injuries. Witnesses on the scene told Shamattawa RCMP that multiple children were playing in the parking lot where the boy was hit. The children were allegedly grabbing onto the bumpers of moving vehicles in an effort to slide in the snow. RCMP did not say if the boy was part of this group, but confirmed no arrests or charges are anticipated in this fatal collision. They remind the public that bumper skiing, as some call it, is dangerous and not worth the risk. The father of the late Mackay Pelly Scott, the 21-year-old who went missing in Kenora last October and whose remains were later found in a nearby First Nation, is asking for the public's help. Brian Pelly is the father of Mackay. He says he has been searching for the rest of his son's remains daily in the landfill in Wishogamis Bay First Nation and in the nearby lake. Kenora or OPP says they have found human remains on November 26th. 2 people have been charged in connection to Pelly Scott's death, including 24-year-old Terrence Cherry and his mother, 43-year-old Una Cherry. At this time, the OPP says their search was extensive and there is nowhere else to look. But the family says they have pinpointed the location of Pelly Scott's remains through ceremony. They are now asking community members to help in the search, including financial donations. The family says you can also join the Bring Mackay Home Facebook page for more information. Brian Pelly says he will not stop looking, even if he has to keep searching by himself.
My son was a very outgoing person there. He was easy to get along with there. He liked to just hang out with his sisters, you know. He was very family oriented, you know, and he spent most of his time with his sisters and his brother and family. We appreciate everybody's help and trying to help us get my son, you know, get his body back, and you know, and so we could bury him properly, you know. Like every little bit helps, you know, and we would like appreciate everybody if they can come and assist us and help try and find my son.
It was a historic day at the Canadian Museum of History in Gatineau, Quebec, just across the river from downtown Ottawa, as a number of Inuit artifacts, including a kayak more than 100 years old, was unveiled to the public for the first time. This after they were transported from the Vatican in Rome to Montreal on Saturday. APTN's Fraser Needham reports.
Elder Daryl Nasugilak's descriptions brought this over 100-year canoe to life.
But this, you can see the actual wear marks, where a hunter, you can see that there's more grease on this side, so he was probably a right-handed guy. You can see beluga oil stains around the cockpit here.
They arrived in Montreal on Saturday and were transported to the museum on Monday. They'll be kept there for now, but Inuit Teprit Kanatami President Nathan Obed says this will not be their permanent home.
Well, there is a larger infrastructure piece that goes along with this story. And for Nunavut as a jurisdiction, even in the land claim agreement, there's consideration of the creation of a heritage center for that jurisdiction. That has yet to be realized. It would be wonderful if we could have museums and heritage spaces in each one of our 4 Inuit land claim regions so that we could get these items closer to our communities.
Canadian Museum of History President Carolyn Dramagai says storing the artifacts at the proper temperature is key.
So we have to really maintain them at a very stable level of humidity and temperature. And the belongings that we saw this morning, of course, are of organic material, which are extremely sensitive to variations of temperature and humidity. So ensuring that we're providing a stable environment for the items is very, very important.
This would have been a pouch for water. This would have been used for tightening or loosening a bow and arrow. This is rope that was made most likely, I believe, by sealskin.
The Inuit Regional Corporation helped coordinate the transfer of the artifacts. CEO Dwayne Smith says the last few days have been a whirlwind of activity he won't soon forget.
I mean, we were very, very emotional. Just the significance of it, the magnitude of unveiling it, just similar to today. It still hits us because this is a part of our history, our culture, our identity, our heritage.
Most of the artifacts are First Nations. However, the Assembly of First Nations was not present at today's event. They plan to have their own unveiling ceremony sometime in January. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
Pipelines are once again dominating discussion on Parliament Hill, especially in light of the MOU Prime Minister Mark Carney signed with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith late last month. That promised a pipeline to be built from Alberta to the West Coast and also promised to consult Indigenous people about any pipeline project. Pierre Poilievre's Conservative Party wants Carney to put up or shut up, adding that the promise is a mere pipe dream. To that end, they tabled a non-binding motion on Tuesday calling for a new pipeline to be built to the Pacific. Debate went on all day, but the motion failed to be passed. Just before debate began, two coastal First Nations leaders held a press conference where they said no to any pipeline going through their territories, but they still want to meet with Carney and his ministers to talk about other economic prospects.
We are working with the federal government, the Prime Minister's office, and some of the other ministers to have a conversation. This is not a conversation that individually that we're having. We're going to have them come up to our territory to have that initial discussion. So we're planning to do that in sometime in the month of January.
But we also recognize the situation that the government is facing, and we do want to work together and be partners and find areas of common interest and alignment. Unfortunately, the oil pipeline is not one of those areas.
APTN's Tina House now on reaction from BC regarding that pipeline debate.
It's voting day in Ottawa as members of Parliament vote to either say yes or no to support the proposed pipeline that would bring oil from Alberta through BC to the North Coast, which would then be loaded onto tankers to be sold to global markets. Robert Phillip is on the First Nations Leadership Council. He says without consulting with First Nations, this project will never go through. And with the recent signing of the MOU between the Prime Minister and Alberta Premier Smith, no consultations took place with First Nations or the Premier of BC on the pipeline.
We would have to talk with coastal First Nations, interior First Nations along the route, get a proponent, because it's very costly, as everybody knows, from TMX. We're talking, 40, if not now $50 billion. So because of all these many issues, and then what was imposed on the Alberta government with the MOU, in terms of clean energy and all of those other factors and conditions that the Prime Minister imposed.
And in Ottawa, Jason Aislaw, president of the Haida Nation Council, along with Christine Martin-Smith, had a message for the MPs about this project.
Today we are calling on all the MPs to stand with the coastal First Nations to uphold the Oil Tanker Moratorium Act and protect our coast, our coastal economy, our way of life from the catastrophic risks of an oil spill. The North Coast and Haida Gwaii is not just the source of our current economic livelihoods, but it's our home, it's our responsibility to look after our territories.
We have this framework here in British Columbia that we're building. We have an energy resource table that can, certainly look at technical aspects of any oil pipeline. We have a leadership council which comprises of the 3 organizations here in British Columbia. It's not rocket science. We just need to talk to the Aboriginal title holders and the treaty holders to have those discussions.
Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
We now want to tell you about this week's new web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, are you confident essential services will be maintained while the federal government reduces its workforce? You can answer yes, no, or unsure. Go to our website at aptnnews.ca. The questions will be on the right-hand side of the homepage. Canadian artist Shawn Mendes recently made a stop in a First Nation in Alberta. We'll tell you why when we come back. Chasqua. Welcome back. It's now time for our Christmas language segment. It's the APTN National News version of the 12 Days of Christmas. And as today marks 10 APTN workdays left until we are on holidays, we bring you some Blackfoot teachings from Francine Bearhat of the Siksika Nation.
Idamik skinotuni, nistu aneko nati pudaki, nitumtu tu Siksika, nina makoyu kina nixista na a notukwel, nohkoix, Ekskima ki masamahutan ki sakui sakumapi ki matsuki tupi and ki nitana istotan. I am vice principal here at Chief Olson School, Nadu Sapi and Siksika Nation. The whole idea of coming together with family, Niksukuwiks, which are my relatives. So a lot of times with the holiday season, our relatives come together and we share moments and joy. Niksukuwiks means my relatives, and that is just basically who we are and where we come from. Having our own school board, we like to incorporate more traditional values. Another word I'd like to introduce to you is Gasanonics, and that is my ancestors. So Gasanonics is when we come together with our family. I used to teach grade 5 and 6 social studies, and I would often introduce them. We'd do family trees, and I would with Niksukuwiks, our relatives, and a lot of our kids really didn't know, especially those who were in the system, were not with their families and were with kin, but they really struggled with their family trees. And I'd often say, okay, just draw them because they were there. You may not know who they are, but they know you. We pray to our ancestors. I would say more holiday season, but it's got to be a daily occurrence is Gitsigakumim. Gitsigakumim means I love you. Tying that with our family, our relatives, and our ancestors, and just telling us, because again, with that whole intergenerational trauma, a lot of our people, we didn't know how to express our love or how to say it.
If you've been on social media this week, some of you may have discovered that Canadian musician Shawn Mendes made a recent stop in Saddle Lake Cree Nation, a large First Nation in Treaty 6 territory in central Alberta, about 160 kilometers northeast of Edmonton. According to artist and musician Tia Wood, Shawn Mendes visited Saddle Lake Cree Nation for just one day late last week. She said she got a chance to show him where she and her family grew up, and they shared a small part of who they are with Mendes. Wood says Mendes was also welcomed into ceremony, which meant a lot to her and her family. Throughout the day, Mendes visited with a number of families and fans, and he made a stop at the Bison Auto Shop and was gifted a ribbon shirt by Julia's Quilts and Designs from the Eagle Healing Lodge. Last October, Tia Wood also got to do a surprise performance alongside Mendes in Vancouver during his On the Road Again tour for a powerful duet of his song, Youth. In a statement posted to social media, Tia Wood added, "I want to take a moment to acknowledge and say thank you to everyone who was so respectful during Shawn's short visit to our community. We're really grateful to our relatives and community members who gave space, showed kindness, and understood the moment for what it was." We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how you can continue the conversation with us. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. And to read and watch our stories, go to aptnnews.ca. You can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. 18-year-old artist and musician Baron May from northern Manitoba is up next to talk about his recent performance in Winnipeg. Stay with us. Walalan for staying with us. Rain in Halifax at 7, Charlottetown 1. Nain -7, Cartwright -10. -7 in Quebec City and showers there, Montreal -5. Toronto 1, Sault Ste. Marie sunny and -7. Wawa -13, Sudbury flurries and -8. Churchill clear skies and -20, Thompson -21. Winnipeg -12, Princess Harbor -15. North Battleford -20, Estevan -18. Buffalo Narrows -23, in La Ronge it's -24. Clear skies in Grande Prairie at -23, Fort McMurray -24. -13 in Calgary, Edmonton -21. Vancouver cloudy and 8, Campbell River 7. Prince George -18, Dease Lake -28. -39 in Mayo and -42 in Dawson. Wati -27, -32 in Fort Simpson. -17 in Tuktoyaktuk, Colville Lake -26. -17 in Chesterfield, Whale Cove sunny and -16. And Igloolik -22, Arctic Bay -29. Our next guest is an 18-year-old singer-songwriter from St. Teresa Point First Nation in northern Manitoba.
Songwriting is inspired by the old gospel that the old people would always listen to. The elders, they always sing gospel.
Earlier this summer, Baron May was featured in Amazon Music's Northern Echo series with his single Maria, where he filmed the music video for that song on Clear Lake in Riding Mountain National Park in Manitoba. In the summer of 2024, Baron, alongside his fellow young musician friends, also got the opportunity to open for Mariana's Trench. And just last week, May got to perform alongside OG Cree singer-songwriter Ace Sanabi in Winnipeg. Baron May says his musical style is inspired by the old gospel music he grew up listening to with the older people in his life. He also received his first guitar from his kukum, who is his biggest supporter. We recently spoke to Baron May at his home in St. Teresa Point. Here's that interview. Baron May, thank you so much for chatting with us. I want to first start by asking you, where did your inspiration for your music first start, and who is your biggest inspiration?
Where my inspiration started is I grew up around singing like traditional songs. I was always around it, and my family always loved to sing Cree hymns, so I say that's where it started. And I first start my biggest inspiration had to be probably my dad, because he's the one that taught me my teachings and brought me into that way of life. So
I also read that your kukum had a hand in your early music career here. Can you talk about your kukum too?
With my kukum, there was this one night where I really wanted to learn guitar, so I had asked her for her guitar, because I always seen a guitar in her room so I asked her if I could borrow it so that I could learn it. So she lent me her guitar, and that's when I learned how to play guitar that night, so she really helped me.
That's awesome to hear. I had a chance to listen to your song Maria and watch that beautifully shot video of your performance. Can you explain what your song Maria is about?
My song Maria, I wrote it as a reminder of the life that I was set on since growing up, like around traditional things and a family that loves to play music, loves to sing Cree hymns and gospels. So I'd say that's why I wrote that song, Maria.
It was really moving. It kind of almost brought me to tears. I felt like you had some really strong emotions there. Thank you for that song, Baron. You recently got a chance to perform alongside Ace Ananabi. What was it like for you to share the stage with him, and how was that night in Winnipeg?
Asanabi, like he really helped me. He really helped me out on like getting ready for the show and overall just being comfortable where I was. And I'd say that night was like a really wonderful experience because I had never performed like in in a venue, like, so that was the first of many, and it was a really good experience.
Sounds like fun. You also said you want to travel on tour with music one day, but you said the cost of leaving your community in northern Manitoba is very expensive, and is one of the reasons why you don't. Are you any closer to fulfilling that dream right now, Baron?
Yes, I'm getting there. I'm working towards it, and like it's getting easier to come in and out of the community because of like my community helps me out a lot with traveling and getting to places with equipment, and my community is really supportive with it. So it's getting closer.
That's great to hear. It's always good when your home community has your back, hey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Finally, Baron, what is your message to other young Indigenous artists out there who want to start singing but don't know where to start?
My message is to just keep playing and try to look for opportunities through posting your own videos or writing your own songs, and it's possible to get somewhere with these types of ways, like these arts, and it's always good to keep on practicing, and eventually you'll be seen. So
I also read you taught yourself how to play the guitar, Baron, hey?
Yes, I did. Yes.
That's great. Baron May, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time, and we wish you all the best on your music career.
Thank you. It was good to talk.
That's your daytime newscast for this Wednesday. Your evening edition of APTN National News is back in a few hours. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, hai hai miigwech masicho. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again. Akse.